I'd like to welcome everyone to the March and February board meeting of the Elizabethton Board of Education. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Van Huss for the moment of silence and pledge to the flag.
Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's time to approve the consent agenda and the regular agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Second. All right. Any issues with the consent or regular agenda? I know Mr. Van Huss.
Yeah, I would like to make a request. Items F and G, that's 3 board policies. There's some things that we'd like to look at with Ms. Owen on those, so we're going to pull those. If we could pull those 2 items off the agenda, I would appreciate that.
Okay. Any comments or questions? The item is to approve the consent and regular agenda as amended.
Yes, I think someone needs to make a motion because I can't make a motion.
Okay. Excuse me. I'll make a motion that we remove F and G from the regular agenda, and we will be able to vote on that now that we have a motion. So all those in favor of approving the consent agenda and regular agenda as it's amended, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Time for citizens to speak. We did not have anyone request permission to speak. So we will move on to special recognitions. And as we normally do, before I turn it over to Mr. Van Huss, if you'll stay through the recognitions, we will give you a chance. If you do need to leave before we get into the regular business, we'll let you do that, but you are welcome to stay as long as you wish. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Van Huss.
Thank you, Mr. Pless. To start with our recognitions, we would like to start by recognizing the SROs within the city school system. February the 15th was National SRO Appreciation Day, and obviously we had issues with weather last month and did not have a February meeting. So we had them scheduled to come last month, and so we moved that to now. So if the SROs will go ahead and come up. I just want to tell you from a school system standpoint how blessed we are to have all these officers stationed throughout our schools. They've really become part of the school family. Extremely professional. They've really added to not only the safety, but again, just the entire school atmosphere. Again, we're just very blessed to have them. I'd like to recognize each one of them there. So when I call your name, you just kind of wave because you kind of all look the same. So Harold McCormick is Doug Combs. Elizabethton High School, Jordan Baker. Eastside Elementary, Aaron Franklin. T.A. Duggar, Brian Smith-Peters. And Westside, Samuel Woodby. Again, we're just, the commitment these officers have to not only safety, but just the care that they show our children. And I know the principals could talk days and days about that. But again, we just appreciate them so much for all they do. And if you'd be willing to give them a round of applause. And we'll try to snap a picture here if Ms. Moore, there you go. Thank you all very much for all you do. Appreciate it. Okay, so for the next, the next 4, I'll call on Mr. Colbert, the CTE director, to come up and do a little introduction for the next 4 recognitions.
And again, thank you for letting us do this. Obviously, we tried last month to get some of these here, and just so you know, there's even other kids that couldn't be here for different reasons tonight, so we were happy to have the ones that are able to be here. Mock trial, by the way, they're on the road as they head to Nashville to compete this week. FFA leaves Sunday to go to their state convention next week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's several good things going on. The robot drone kids were on the original list, I think, not be able to be here tonight, but hopefully by the time we have another meeting, they're going to have another competition. Mostly the same group of kids, so we'll get even more here at some point in time. But first things first, let's get to Mr. Lee Cole, who is here, and he has a demonstration. We're going to do show and tell, if you don't mind. So for Battle of the Build, it got started with the Johnson City Homeowners Association several years ago and so forth, and these kids worked really hard. I'm going to let Mr. Cole explain what that is over there.
This is actually what they work for. That's their first place trophy for what they've won. If you can't, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I usually talk above Saul, so I really apologize. Battle of the Build is something that's been going on for the last 9 years. I've actually been a participant in the last 8 years. It's really good. It gets the kids working on more than just one craft. And they have to actually design this out. So they go from a planning stage to a layout stage, to a final assembly stage. And they worked really hard at this. When we started this, young lady you're gonna see in a minute, Anna Blackwell, she said, "This is what I wanna build, Mr. Cole." And I said, "Give me a day or two." We gotta figure this out. So, we started messing around, and our lumber at the time was actually, you could lay it down and go around the corner with it. So we actually started stripping it, built it butcher block style. That was something they didn't know, so they learned how to do that. And if you notice, you have some nice butcher blocks in front of you, some cutting boards. Those are made by the kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cool.
But this group that we're going to be coming up here, that's the same group that presented that day. That's the same group that stayed after school with me to work on this. And you'll see how it's rolling behind me right there. But I want to let them come up and present what they built, what they showed. So Rowan Townsend, Anna Blackwell, Bella Blackwell, Taylor Penix, Caleb Dillo, and David Rowland. That was our competing team. Y'all just go over and just give your presentation, guys. I know you're loud enough.
That is why I have self levels too. Mhm.
And another key component of this whole entire project is that almost every single part is made from wood. The only items that we bought for the project were the screws, some wooden dowels, and the bolts down there. And we even had one of our students who's not here with us to weld the locking mechanism on there. But other than that, it's all, every single hinge is made out of wood.
That's pretty cool.
Question is, did you guys copy the idea, or did you come up with it?
Well, I found a similar idea online with a metal hinge on it, and I kept looking around till I found someone who had created a system for the wooden design. But after that, I couldn't find a blueprint or anything, so I had to look at this video and create the blueprint from that video.
That's amazing.
There have only been metal ones before that.
That's awesome.
And that way it cut down on the cost a lot and gave us more opportunity to work with the hinge system.
That's cool. Very cool. That's cool. I'm impressed. Awesome. That is super awesome.
If y'all will go back, let's get a picture with all of you around the table. That'd be great. If you,
Man, IKEA needs to get on that.
Yes.
like I want that.
That's amazing. That's super cool.
So I think you can see why they won first place. Yeah. It's pretty obvious, right?
Thank you.
Rowan, when we had to present this over, they got invited us for a dinner at the Home Builders Association, and when it comes back to the chair supporting a significant amount of weight, Rowan looked at one of the guys and he said, "Well, it holds him up," and he was pointing at me. We've had a lot of fun. Thank you for the opportunity to get to go places with these kids. I appreciate it. I look forward to more of these in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And by the way, when they presented to the Johnson City Home Builders Association, they actually did have food and drinks on it as they converted it up and down to show you that it stays level. Since we've sold it for $900, I don't think we're going to put that on there now in case something goes wrong. But anyway, speaking of food, though, let's transition to the Culinary Quest Challenge for, okay, I think that's what it's called, Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the second or third year we've done it. Mr. Schertz has scared off a lot of the competition in the past with all the cool things he's done, and I'll let him come up and explain what they made. I know I tasted it before they left, but they had to prepare it again once they went to Bristol. So.
Multiple award winner, I guess, here with Taylor. So we can sit here. We have a few people that actually have jobs, and so they're working tonight and stuff. But we had 6 people that were on the team, and this is the 3rd year we've had it, and we're the only school that has placed in the top 3 every time, so that's kind of good. We were a little bit disappointed this year. We got 2nd place by 0.6 of a point. So we're trying to figure out what could have we've done. You know, we shouldn't have itched our nose at one point or something. And so anyway, there's different things like that. Do you want to explain the food, or you want me to explain the food?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So for our appetizer, we have the lips that we made with cottage cheese, phyllo dough, and we made our own pepperoni out of pork tenderloin. And then we have that with pickled onion on top of it. It was really good. And then for our soup, we did a bouillabaisse. So it's like a fish broth, if you will. Yeah. And we had mussels, we had scallops. What else did we have?
Halibut.
Halibut? Are you? Oh, all right. And then we did like a pour over, so we had they did very well, and then we poured the soup over. And then for our entree, we had Wellington. Yeah, we did pork Wellington, and then we had that with mussel.
So the competition every year has 4 or 5. I think last year was 6. They had 6 items you have to use during the competition. I don't think you have to use it in every course. The first year we left a couple, like we used them all, but we felt like the winners used it in every single course. We're like, do we have to do this? Do we need to go? So then last year we attempted to use it a little more, but anyway. So this year's ingredients were purple potatoes. So they're purple flesh, like you peel it and it's purple on the inside. Brussels sprouts, so that's why you kept hearing Brussels sprouts. Pork tenderloin, because the last 2 years have been chicken. Phyllo dough and ricotta cheese. So we're like, okay, European, kind of Indian. We were trying to do something. We usually have a theme. We kind of play on a theme. So we get there, everything's going great. We get checked in. It's good. We go in. The teachers, and you can't be around. So then we leave. And so it's like the easiest day of the year. And I just go upstairs, we hang out, talk with other teachers. We're at the Bristol Motor Speedway, so we're up in the boxes and stuff. And then we come up later and like, hey, how did, people are, they did great. There's a little snafu. It's like, what? It's like, the people who provided the ingredients provided puff pastry, which maybe doesn't matter to you guys, but the ingredient was phyllo dough. So phyllo dough can bake in like 4 minutes, 3 minutes. It's like super flaky and fine, and you just sear it. And so we had everything based on that. And so they had puff. And it's like, how did they do? And they great. They wrapped one of their water bottles in plastic wrap, and they used it as a rolling pin, and they rolled everything out and stuff. Huh? It's really thin.
25 sheets. For the beef bowling or the puff pastry, we only had 1 sheet. So we had to roll it out really thin and then divide it between the legs and what we were doing, everything we used.
It's crazy. But anyway, it was a good experience, I think. This is Chloe's 3rd time. Taylor's done this. So all the people on the team, we picked up an extra girl at the end. We had something happen, and we had to fill a dishwashing position. So we have 2 people that were non-seniors. So it was good. Senior. We had a couple other seniors that good. So I thought we did really well for rallying with the snow days and everything practicing. So anyway, that's it.
That's awesome.
You'll slide over for a picture.
Speaking of the culinary challenge, kind of got started by Lottie Ryan. She also got started a business version of this. And so I'll let Miss Laura Lee start baking her way up here. And in case anybody's getting tired or bored, let's do an interactive thing here. Lorelei, sorry, I pronounced it wrong. How many of you remember the stick song Lorelei? Jamie Shaft, please raise your hand. Oh, come on.
But I don't remember.
Her name is Lorelei, but she was not named after the song, so I'm finding out. It is a good song. Sticks is pretty cool. Miss Walker, we went to school together. Please tell me you remember Lorelei. Okay, thanks. Sorry, here's another one. Shamefully, I missed. So 2 of the biggest events we've had here lately, I missed this. So I did not see her actual presentation, but she described it for me in the back. But it'd be a lot more fun if she described it to you all, because she also has some show and tell. I think. What's up to you? You don't have to. Never mind. This was not show and tell. Be nice if the food had been, Mr. Schertz, but that's okay. But Lorelei will explain what she had to do for the business challenge at Northeast State. And again, several other high schools doing this stuff. Shout out to all of our competition. We didn't just beat anybody. We were beating some really good kids from some really good other schools. Miss Lorelei, I'll let you have it.
So I went to a competition and I presented my business, The Lucky Duck. And so it's basically a business where I have a curated collection of little resin things, rubber ducks, basically anything rubber duck you can think of. I probably sell it in my store. And I presented to 6 judges in a room by myself with a presentation board, and then I had some of all of my items set out on the table. And I explained to them, I gave them a pitch and explained to them what my business was, how it got started. Then they asked me questions about it, and then they gave me 5 minutes of advice time. Most of that time was them spent gaping at my age because they could not believe how young I was, which, you know. And
Hang on to that.
and then I did mock interviews, so I got to sit down with someone who was in a business profession, and they explained to me what they did. They gave me pointers on interview tips, and then they gave me a mock interview based on a basic position. For awards, we went up there and we had an award based off of our interview, and we were awarded top 3 for the people who competed in the business challenge. I won 3rd place, and there were 19 other people competing, so it was top 20 finalists. One of the schools didn't get to come, so we didn't get to see everyone up there, but it was really awesome seeing everyone who competed. The girl who won 1st place had a whole business where, like, she would go and set up events, and then, like, 24 hours later, she'd come back and take them all down, and she had some really pretty table sets. But it was a really fun day, and I learned a lot about what I need to improve, and I'm definitely going to go back next year with improvements to my business. So.
That's great.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Well, if you'll come up, we'll take a picture real quick.
And again, I'm gonna stand up here just so I can look around the room. Did any of the robot kids show up? Because again, at one time you were on the agenda. Okay. Did any of you all want to mention that, or are you just gonna wait to the next competition and explain all of it? They're gonna wait, okay.
Because they're going to win another one.
They're gonna
might
win
as well
another
just
one, but
wait.
they're still doing more robot competition, but thank you all for letting us do this tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Berry? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Smithdale.
You all kind of stand here so they can see the pictures. Good evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Travis Smithdale. I teach a few different classes at T.A. Duggar Junior High. The reason I'm here tonight is on behalf of my TAD lead class and TAD Elevate. These are kids who want to help make things better. That's a big goal of the class. And the way the class is designed, it's all about opportunity. Opportunity to grow, opportunity to help and think creatively about how to help our school be better, how to help our community better, how to help themselves as they grow up, just kind of be better. And this is the 3rd year in a row that you all have allowed us to take them on a trip. And this year, we were able to go to Camp Bahamas. The first year we went to Arizona 3 years ago. Last year we went to Kentucky. And this year, Camp Bahamas in the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas. And I know this is really weird, and I didn't have to take much convincing to get people to want to go on the trip, as you can imagine. But when we were thinking about and dreaming about places we wanted to go, Mr. Berry spent some time there in college and over a couple summers with a ministry there, a Methodist ministry on the island. So when we were dreaming, this started 2.5 years ago, just kind of dreaming about it and talking about it. And we've connected with this organization, a 501c3 nonprofit. And I'm going to let the kids tell you more about it. But I just want to say thank you so much. It was a tremendous opportunity. I think a lot of growth happened, a lot of good happened. This is the first time you let us leave the country. And I can't tell you, parents, board members, just what a blessing it is. Nobody in our area does this, and the fact that you believe in us and enable us and encourage us and empower us to be able to do things like this speaks volumes for what you all believe. And I'm going to quit talking. I kind of gave the kids prompts, so I'd rather them tell you about the trip than me. But it was wonderful, and we look forward to dreaming for the next one. When the flood happened, I was like, Mr. Berry, do we need to not go to the Bahamas and just focus? He's like, no. Let's go to the Bahamas. So next year, I think we're already kind of working on a more local, focusing on some of the needs in our own area. And I would love to talk to you all more about that if you would like. So I will let them introduce themselves when they come up, and then they can just kind of share what I asked them to or whatever else they wanted to. But sincerely, thank you to the board, to the superintendent, parents again for allowing us to take your kids out of the country, and doing that with a public school is just phenomenal. And thanks again. So.
My name is Caroline Bentley, and as you know, we had the opportunity of spending a week at Camp Bahamas, a summer camp on the island of Eleuthera. The camp's primary mission is to provide a traditional summer camp experience for children from low-income families, not only on the island of Eleuthera, but from other neighboring islands in the Bahamas. Some of the fun things they get to do include kayaking, paintball, sports, among other activities. To the kids, their time at Camp Bahamas is a much welcomed escape from their everyday lives. During the off-season, the camp invites service teams like ours to spend a week serving the camp and the community. We split our time between working on camp facilities and getting to know children from the community. These same kids get to visit the camp during their summer break, and we quickly learned how much of an impact Camp Bahamas has on their life.
My name is Carson Thompson. I will be talking about the work we did at Camp Bahamas. Surprisingly, they gave a group of 8th graders machetes, and they and they took us to the paintball field at the camp, and we cleared out a large amount of brush. That way it would make playing paintball easier for the campers at camp. And then another day, the girls cleaned cabins while the boys organized storage containers at camp that contained all the activities. And then finally, we were working inside the only indoor gymnasium on the island. So boys organized storage closets, bleached the wrestling mats, and fixed the basketball hoops, while girls made hygiene bags to send to the school.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Addie Tyler, and I will be talking about the kids that we got to interact with at the Bahamas. Excuse me, my allergies are getting to me today. So it was a really amazing opportunity to be able to work at the Camp Bahamas, but the other half was even more special because we got to see kids who don't have like the best home life, as we were told, and just to play with them and see them smile. That smile was everything. It was really hard to keep up because they talk really, really fast. So some of the names were Diamond, Rashad, Shaniqua, and Adam. And there was a ton more. I wish I could remember, but it's a little difficult. But yes, thank you so much for allowing us to have this opportunity to connect and letting us experience these different scenarios for our future lives. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Annabelle Light, and I'm going to just talk about the sheer amount of work that we did on this trip, because I feel like whenever people say, oh yeah, we just went to the Bahamas, they think we went on a vacation. They think that we were tanning in the sun, drinking a pina colada.
We hope really gonna try that.
No, we we weren't. Like Carson said, we were given machetes, and we just, for 3 days during the rain sometimes, and in the like 75, 80 degree heat, we were just chopping away trees in a forest with a bunch of thorns, and we had to wear pants during that, and that was pleasant. It was just incredible to see how much a small group of students could do for such a large community, and just a really good time to connect with people I don't think we would have connected to any other way.
That's great.
Hi, I'm Barnes Hoplin, and I'm talking about the vacation and tanning and drinking out of pina colada. So we, some of the fun things we got to do at the camp and throughout the island would kayak in the bay and like snorkel and just like get to see all the stuff there. One day we went out and went swimming in like a huge sinkhole like south of the camp, and hiked out to like a huge like tree, and like it's probably spanned like 100 yards, and just playing at the park in the school honestly was a ton of fun, and just all this made our group bond and helped us learn about the culture and the island. It was a great time. Thank you.
My name is Rylan Garland, and I'm talking about what I learned from the trip, and I just really learned and just realized how much our work can impact the community and the camp in the future, and just realizing what I have and not to take stuff for granted, and just being there with the kids and playing with them, it's really brightened their day and showed them just, yeah.
My name is Wiley Steffi, and some of the things I took away are learning how to serve others and how important it is. We cleaned and fixed the camp for future campers to enjoy later this summer and get the best experience possible. I figured out how much I enjoy working with kids and being there with them, and how grateful they are for just me being with them. I feel like I want to continue to do more service projects and work with kids in my future career. I am beyond grateful I got this opportunity to go on this trip and experience the different perspectives on how people live. I learned how important teamwork is, since we did not know each other that well before the trip, but by the end of the trip we did great and became a great team.
And I'm Chris Berry. I'm the principal at T.A. Duggar. Guys,
Mixing the pina
there were
coladas?
no
Is that you?
pina coladas. No pina coladas. And the machetes were supervised. So, guys, this was just when we envisioned this, we started this 3 years ago, and it was just that connection to service, connection to kids, and getting to meet another culture, see something different that they can relate to, and just create those experiences. And it's just been an amazing process. These are your future leaders. These kids are going to do awesome things at the high school, and it's just set them up for different experiences. But it's just the ability to go with them, to work with them. I've done a lot of trips. Mr. Smithfield, I can't say enough. I think I asked, what time are we leaving? This is a couple days out. I used to do all the planning of the trips. He's got it. And it's just, he's done such a good job with this group. And this has been one of the best groups I've ever taken anywhere. I mean, they worked hard the entire time. What they didn't say is we had 6 inches of rain on one day. It was a monsoon. And they went into the gym. They worked hard. Everything was just positive, and they just enjoyed fellowshipping. And this is not a group of people maybe that were friends maybe going into this, but they've made lifelong friends with each other. And I think they've learned a lot about just a lot of different things. So thank you for that experience. And again, yeah.
What were the qualifications to get to go on this trip?
Again, it's a T.A. Duggar leadership class, so anybody can sign up for this class, but there is that expectation. They're going to be talking, I mean, it's not just the trip, but they're working throughout the entire semester on building those leadership skills. Just like Mr. Smithfield said, we'll pivot next year and really look at something more local, because our community needs that assistance. But it's kind of catering to those things. But again, trying to keep that same connection to kids, connection to service, and just giving them opportunities to learn, to lead, and just learn about the communities.
So you guys will be connected for the rest of your lives. People that you normally wouldn't be with. You got to go and do this.
We're already hoping our senior year we're going to have to recreate it.
Yeah.
No pressure, Dr. Minton. No pressure.
Maybe a pink.
They want to recreate this senior year. Okay, I'll just make sure.
Thank you all. And I would love to talk more about this program or other trips, or if the board wants to volunteer for the next one in a couple years. I thought
I would not have a problem with that.
we'd love to have you as well. So thank you all. And thanks to the parents again.
Also, Ms. Thacker was clipping through. I can't thank Mr. Smithfield and Ms. Thacker. They give up an entire week, and this sounds like a vacation, but it's a lot of work. And again, I can't thank them enough. They were excellent in this process, and they're always fun to travel with.
I mean, we put teenagers in planes by themselves, so the Bahamas seem like it's pretty easy. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all of that. Again, this is the time that we normally let you leave. If you need to go, you're welcome to stay, but we'll take a couple of minutes until people clear out, and then we'll continue on.
You ready to go ahead? I'm ready. Let's go. Clears them out then.
Let's see. Well, I just got that email today, so I have not mentioned it to my wife yet. The dates. Let me put it in my phone, and then I'll talk with her. How soon do we need to let you know? Oh, okay. Yeah. And delete it. Tell me one more time. It's July. Oh, that's what it said even in the email from them. You said July 17th through 19th. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and move forward. Next, it's time for the director's update. So I'll turn it over again to Mr. Van Huss.
Thank you, and thanks to the board again for allowing us to recognize these students. There's just so many incredible things going on. Mr. Isaacs and I were just talking, we didn't have these opportunities when we were in school, but that's what it's all about to me right there. That's what it's all about, all the work that you do as a board collectively and our staff. I mean, they come up with these ideas because they care so much and love our kids, and so we're just very thankful for you as the board that you support those activities. Just a quick update on a couple of capital project items. The Dave Ryder Center for Athletic Performance continues to move along. All of the concrete has been finished there with the exception of sidewalks, which will come a little later in the project. So Tuesday, the plan is to start with the construction of the building itself. So you'll see a lot of metal and beams and things going up over the next 2 weeks. It'll take about 2 weeks to put the roof on, and then about a week and a half to 2 weeks to put the metal on the sides. Then it'll look like a building at that point, and then they'll start with a lot of the interior things. Still on pace to have it, that would turn it over to us by the start of the school year in the fall. So again, it's just moving right along, and looking forward to, as you know, the city council and school board tour of schools. We had to reschedule because of snow last month. That is Friday, April the 4th, and we'll start at the CDEC. We'll have a ribbon cutting there, as well as a ribbon cutting later on that morning at Harold McCormick for that renovation project. And so we'll have an opportunity to go around to the different schools. Principals will be able to share some information with you and council. Just a great opportunity, again, for you to see the investments that you have approved, and city council has been so gracious to support us over the years. It'd be great for you to get to see those. Many of you have, but as a group to get to see how those dollars that you've invested in the school system and in our schools, exactly how we've used those. So looking forward to that endeavor as well. Again, Harold McCormick is finished up, and also the CDEC is obviously finished. We've had several meetings there now. So again, we'll look forward to that opportunity to share with all of you then. I'm sure as you heard, Monday we had a bus accident, and we're just so thankful that no one was hurt seriously, including the driver of the other vehicle. Sore, a few issues there, but getting along well. I just wanted to tell you how blessed we are with the people that we have in the school system. Again, I'm going to run down some names of some individuals. As the second that we heard there was a bus accident, people from all over the school system converged on the scene. Dr. Boatman, John Hutchins, Dr. Tom Hobson, Chris Berry, Dr. Rachel Darnell, Ryan Presnell. Ryan was on the way home after school. He was the first car that pulled up to the accident. He was at the intersection of Mill Street and South Lynn Avenue, just down from McDonald's, heading toward the Biltmore area. That was the first car he was the first one that pulled up and I don't think that was an accident. I think that was a divine appointment there with his skill. That was the first person on the scene. Sam Ellis is a spare bus driver. He was just driving by, saw what happened, pulled over, stopped, got out. Paul Lindbergh brought another bus to transport the students that were on the bus. Again, they all walked away. We had one student that understandably, had a panic attack. I mean, it was, but we have the video of the bus, and again, to see the vehicle hit the side of the bus, and you really get an appreciation for the way they're constructed and why they're constructed the way they are. As a matter of fact, the immediate impact happened right below a student sitting on the left-hand side of the bus right behind the driver. And to see the impact, and the bus shakes, but it doesn't tip up on its wheels or anything. Again, it just really makes you appreciate the design and engineering that goes into those. And so when we approve those buses and you approve those buses for us to purchase, that's why. The driver, Mr. Tim Dyer, did a great job, a fantastic job. Was operating the bus as he should have been. The accident happened. He checked on students, did exactly what he was supposed to. So we're just blessed for him and his professionalism as well. And then you start talking about the police department, highway patrol, the rescue squad, the fire department. All of those groups just did a fantastic job, all concerned about the health and safety of all those that were involved. Also, Kelly Whitney here at the office and Nicole Moore, they were involved as well. Again, Mr. Berry, Dr. Darnell, they jumped right in and started taking information from students that we were required to turn over. But again, just all those people didn't have to show up. They showed up because they care. So again, we're just very thankful, and we're so blessed that no one was hurt any more seriously, and everyone was able to walk off the bus. So on a happy note, as you know, next week is spring break. So we're excited about that. I think everyone's ready. It's been, it's kind of a long trek from Christmas to spring break sometimes. And so once we get back from spring break, it's going to be testing season, obviously. They'll have a week or two there to continue to review and get ready for those exams. So lots going on. When we come back from spring break, it's 8 weeks, and we'll hit the ground running, and it'll be over before you know it. There's all kinds of activities. We'll share more at our April meeting to get you up to date on some of those things coming up in May. Myself and Ms. Schaff had the opportunity to attend the TSBA Summer Law Institute a couple of weeks ago, and appreciate the opportunity to do that. TSBA does a great job advocating for not only you as board members, but school systems across the country. They do a great job. Their staff did a great job of presenting the different pieces of legislation that were out there and helping explain that and how that could potentially impact the education across the state. So just thank you for the opportunity to go to that, and thank you, Ms. Schaff, for being willing to go as well. I don't know if you have anything that you'd like to mention about that or not.
Now?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we had a gentleman come that really gave an in-depth view of what SRO officers actually do on a day-to-day basis, and I really wasn't aware of everything they're responsible for and the commitment that they have to the students and the safety of the school, and it was just amazing, and I was glad that we got to recognize those. And then artificial intelligence was discussed, scary and amazing at the same time. Kind of wish I had it when I was in high school. I could get a paper, but Wanda Bass was my AI back then. She checked all my papers and rewrote them for me. Now that I'm out of school, I can say that. But it is just so dangerous of what they can use AI to do to, I mean, it's just scary that somebody has that much intelligence to sit down and they can get your voice on a device and they can harass people with your voice. I mean, it's just, it really opened my eyes. And then we had an attorney come in and talk about social media, what you are allowed to say and what you're not, what freedom of speech and things like that. It was very insightful, so I appreciate going. But I have to mention for my husband, Mark, the 7-finger pork chop that Richard Van Huss ate. He still hasn't recovered from it because he didn't order it. But
I didn't eat the whole thing. I ate a portion, but I did not eat the whole thing.
And Dr. Boatman, I got to have dinner with Dr. Boatman, which he and I had never had a chance to get to know one another. But it was a very insightful trip, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you for allowing us to go.
absolutely, and not to talk about the pork chop, but the whole discussion about AI, you're exactly right. It's very scary. We've formed an AI committee, an artificial intelligence committee here at a district level team, and we're looking at ways to how we can roll out things, tools that are helpful for teachers and students, as well as training, and then the training component on helping students understand how to use that appropriately and safely. So there'll be more that I can report on that in the future, but it is certainly something that we need to try our best. It's very hard to stay ahead of that technology because it changes so rapidly. Yeah, as soon as you come out with a plan, it's obsolete because of the next advancement in technology. So again, thank you for the opportunity to go, and appreciate it very much. That's my report.
All right. And it's time for board members' report, and I appreciate Ms. Schaff already sharing there. Anything else from you about that? I know I know people are signing up for this year's Summer Law Institute for those that can go. And Dr. Lewis, you may remember this. Do you still have to do 7 after you did the first?
So when I was at the training in January,
Mhm.
I talked with, gosh, what's the lady's name that?
Massey?
The lady that does the presentation. Ben
White,
and,
there's White, Jennifer White's one of them.
At any rate,
Yeah.
she seemed to think that since we submitted the credits from the
What you did at the
in November,
Nashville, that they would count that.
that should be fine. She
Okay.
said, "Did you submit? Did you fill out paperwork?" And I
Mhm.
said, "I did," and she said,
Awesome.
"Then you should be fine."
I think that as a board, then we're in really good shape. I am going to mention there is something called Camp TSBA. You may have gotten a notice. It's basically 6 one-hour sessions about different things. They're encouraging as many board members to do it, and you can actually do it live or you can do it on a recording. And all you have to do is contact them, and then that actually will get you 7 credits towards one of those fields. So if you have questions, holler at me.
Is that in the Bahamas?
That's not in the Bahamas, no.
Oh, that's
So,
not fair.
but it may be from the luxury of your home, so. And I wish I'd done this when Mr. Colbert was here. Actually, maybe I'm not, I'm glad he's gone, but February, we missed this because it was CTE month. And he did something that I don't know a director ever doing, but he sent out a daily report about CTE activities. I thought I understood, knew a lot of what went on, but I got, it was unbelievable what our students are doing. I appreciate his leadership, appreciate our instructors and our students, and obviously we've seen some results of that. But I want to thank him. I'll give him a shout because that was very informative. I really appreciate the fact that he.
Send that to all, did all the board
Yeah.
members see
I
that?
got it,
Great.
yeah.
So, and it was, it's a lot of work. So I'm trying to figure out who his AI is. So it's artificial intelligence. But anyway, I do appreciate him. Mr. Simmerly, City Council Liaison Report. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I really don't have that much. The first thing, the most important thing, my wife said to make sure I ask when our mulch sale will start, because I've been told I need to be
It's
working in the
on,
yard.
yeah.
John, do you know that?
What he asked?
Mulch sale.
Oh,
All right. Just make sure I'm on your list. Okay, okay. All right, thank you, thank you. Well, I tell you what, these kids nowadays, that right there, I couldn't believe that. Wow. It's incredible, the talent that our children have, but more importantly, the instruction at that level that they're getting. These kids that went to the Bahamas, look at that. I mean, it's going to be a lifetime. They'll remember things like that. And maybe one or two of them, it's going to impact them so much. I think one little girl said that she wanted to work with children now. but think, I mean, what we're doing with our children, how we're impacting their minds.
Well,
It's
not only
just-
that, but the impact they had on those kids that they interacted with down there.
Exactly,
I mean, you know,
exactly,
that's what
Dr.
I kept
Lewis.
thinking. Like, gosh,
Oh, it's
I mean, crazy. It's cool.
I mean, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And it just makes you proud to be part of the system and part of these children's lives too. And like this young man sitting right here, I mean, just, you're so proud, you know, just what they're going to do in life, where they're going to go, what they can do. But it's how we're enabling these children to do that through the education we're given. I'll get off my soapbox. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Just so proud of these kids, so proud of what they do every day. Mulch Sellery mentioned that. The tour of schools, we're excited about that, looking forward to that. I love riding the school bus. That's so exciting. Budget
It'll be a
planning.
treat.
We are starting our budget planning, as we know. Apologies, we didn't have the money that we all need. It is going to be a difficult year this year. The storm, we don't really know where we stand at the moment. We've just got a lot of expenditures. We just, as a city, you know, our funds are kind of set. You know, our taxes, I don't know about the rest of you, but we don't want to pay any more taxes than we're currently paying. So our funding and our income is somewhat set, and that's where the majority of our funds come from, is from when we pay our taxes. So, you know, that is what it is. We've got a set amount of money that we work with each year, and it seems like every year we have, you know, 100 projects to work on, and we've only got funding for 20 or 30 of them. And it seems every year, too, that, you know, the buildings are getting older, they need more work. You know how it is, running the school system. It's the same with running the city. We need more police cars. We need more fire trucks. We need, well, matter of fact, we've got a 4-year plan to buy a new ladder fire truck. I'm sure you've read about that or heard about that. But it's just the expense of running everything. But again, you know, we hope to be able to help you guys in the future and what your future needs would be. Interesting, you're talking about artificial intelligence. We were at our Nashville workshop. We go down once a year for the Tennessee Municipal League, and we have training down there, and it was on artificial intelligence. So we had it as well. And just like Mr. Van Huss said, as soon as you're trained on it, you turn around, it's obsolete that quick. I really think the people that are writing these programs are some of the people that are, you know, keeping their job, you know, keeping their jobs going. I did hear something about a Murphy bed. If these kids can build a Murphy bed, put me on the list. I am in the market for, seriously, I'm in the market for a Murphy bed. So I'd love to purchase that if that's a possibility. But again, just thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you guys do. I'm just so excited. I mean, every time I turn around, I went to my first softball game this last week, girls softball. I was impressed. One of our girls hits a home run. I'm like, wow, I guess that's like a regular thing that goes on. You know, hit the home run. One hits a grand slam. Well, the one that hit the home run, the first one, over the left field, the ball hits the top of the fence, and it's kind of like aluminum siding, like it bends the fence and the ball disappears. Well, the opponent coach is fussing about the girl hitting the ball that it's not a home run. They go running down there. Our coach goes running down. The referee goes running down. Well, the ball, if it was stuck in the fence, it's a double. If it went over and through and disappeared, it's a home run. No ball. It was a home run. I just love our sports, love our program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hudson?
Thank you. First, I'd like to kind of brag on our music department real quick. So 2 weeks ago, our ensembles, our choir groups, we went to JB Lyle, and we got superior for our mixed and our men's ensembles. And so we're all very proud of all the work that all those people have put in. Also, a week ago, the concert and symphonic band went to their competition and got straight superiors as well. And also, recently, our winter guard traveled to Atlanta, and it took place in a national competition. And so it's from schools from all over the country to take this very seriously. All schools are way bigger than us, and we got third in the entire nation. Sweet. And I just know, I mean, I'd be playing basketball, and after practice, I'd see them rolling that mat out on our floor, and they'd be practicing for way longer than we ever did. So all the work that they put into that as well, I think there's a lot of pride throughout the school for all the work that these people have put in and all the success that they've had so far. Also, I'd like to talk about the March Madness in our school, not the actual one that the SJ is putting on right now. So basically, it's a 33 basketball tournament that's happening in fourth period, and students could sign up to take place in this, and they play for the entire period against other teams that are set up against them. And the other classrooms, they can come in and watch them if they don't have anything to do in that period. And I can say it's definitely been the main topic of conversation at all the lunch tables so far. Just excitement about, you know, who's playing who today and seeing your friends play basketball. it's definitely lifted the spirit. And on top of the fact that spring break is next week, I'd say there's a lot of excitement in the school right now. Lastly, I just want to talk about how we have elected a new student liaison for next year, Miss Helen Hackett, and I just wanted to say that she is a great friend of mine and an amazing person. I sing with her, so I know she's going to be perfect for this role as well. So that's all I have to talk about today.
So at this time, in conjunction with Hudson right here, he may have something he wants to share. But Miss Alicia Jarrett, she's our nurse at Elizabethton High School, and she came to us a few months ago about a project that she would like to do in conjunction with the FRC, Family Resource Center at the CDEC. And so I would ask her at this time if she'll come up. She's going to share a little information with you about that. It's a very exciting project. It's going to be a great addition to the FRC and another opportunity to support people in our community. So thank you, Ms. Jarrett.
I want to read just a little bit of a backstory on what actually started all this. So my dad, Carl Clark, he was born on November 24th, 1954. He wasn't born into wealth, and with 7 kids, including himself, it's very hard times. From what I've been told, Dad's mom worked really hard and was a good mother, but I never met her. She had died when I was very, very young. But with Dad's father being a very abusive, alcoholic man, they endured hardships, which included food on the table at times. Dad was always a quiet person, even at a young age. He had friends, though, that seemed to be his saving grace, though they were very mischievous when they were together. As Dad grew up, he dropped out of high school during his freshman year and started his career in brick and block mason. He was really good at his job, not just saying that because he's my dad, but if you were to ask people, they would always brag about his work. He was kind of a jack of all trades because he had to be. He didn't have the funds to pay for things to be done, so he knew how to do everything from wiring a house for electricity to any plumbing issue that was brought to his attention. I don't know if it was luck or just one of those meant-to-be situations, but he was in Pikeville, Kentucky, working with Dean Scalf in 1979, and while in town repairing a building, he went to lunch where my mom worked, and they were together from that day on until his death in May of 24. My mom suffered struggles worse than my dad did as far as food and being clothed. Just like Dad, she had an abusive alcoholic father who would rather spend his money on his liquor and women than his family at home. I would say they preferred that, though, because the beatings were pretty horrible to their mother. Mom's dad was well known by everyone, so he would go in the jailhouse and walk out the back door without getting into trouble. So when Mom and Dad met, they were both in situations where they knew they had to do better for the future they had ahead of them. And since they both dropped out of school, Dad decided to work hard on his construction work, and Mom got her GED and went to technical school. She now works in the finance department at the City of Johnson City, and I'm glad to say that her and Dad finally knew how it felt after having kids to never have to struggle for food on the table again. They didn't have to steal a loaf of bread and bologna to feed themselves, let alone my sister and me. Even to this day, I have never known what it's like to go to bed hungry or worry about where my next meal was coming from because of how hard my parents worked. Once Dad got older, he did get to work at Snap-on through a contracted company. Even though the work was just as hard, he didn't have to be outside in the changing weather all the time, which was good because the heat and severe cold affected his breathing. I sat and watched my dad so strong his whole life slowly be drained of energy to where he couldn't take but a few steps from the couch to the bed without gasping for air, even while on oxygen. I'm sorry. So when Dad finally retired, it killed him to kind of just stay at home. He was always up and moving around and working on something. He would always say after school, you better feed my kids. If I told him they were fine, they could wait for supper. Kids, grandkids, by the way. If I told him they were fine, they could wait for supper, he would go behind my back to get them something because they would call him acting like they were starving to death. Once he would call my mom and make sure that it was okay to get him food, he'd come rolling up in his car with food in hand, and like they'd go out running and smiling. And but once he got progressively worse, we finally made the decision to place him on hospice. Even as a grown-up and a nurse who has worked in the field for almost 18 years, you know the decision means it's the end, and it's very hard to accept. To make Dad's day, though, I would go home after work and say, "You wouldn't believe what these young'uns are doing these days." They need a good whooping and made to go work in the garden a few hours and put in some labor and get some character. He would just laugh or, smile with his little crooked smile. We always loved to sit on the porch and listen to music together and tell stories of when we were younger, when he was younger, or just talk about silly stuff. Mom and Dad both knew what it was like to have hunger pains and what it was like to quit school, to take care of themselves to make ends meet and to put food on the table. They never wanted their daughters or their grandkids to know those pains either. And since they became more comfortable in life while he was here and Mom came into money after he had passed away, they both agreed to try to help kids in need. A child should never have to worry about where their next meal will come from or if they will even get food that day. Unfortunately, it happens though. So they wanted to make a box that is open to any city school student and their family to come pick up some basic food needs whenever they need it. If it is embarrassing for them, they must get help from us. They can always come at a time when it's not as busy around the area surrounding the box. They can also contact us as information will be provided at the box for further assistance if needed. We always wanted to provide a student that passed any adversities when it came to having food and hard times during school a scholarship of $500 for their first semester of college, technical school, or whatever educational path they had chosen to follow. If you asked his past co-workers and friends, they would tell you he was such a giving man and one of the hardest workers they knew. I hope this shows with Carl's Pantry, even though he is no longer with us. He had his imperfections, but just like all of us, nobody's perfect. But I will tell you, if love can save my dad, he would live forever. I would like to say this, though. My parents loved each other deeply. They loved each other so much they worked through any trials and tribulations they faced. I hope that everyone can find love like them and the love in their hearts to be so giving and caring to others, even strangers. Every time I hear the quote, I love you without knowing how or when or where from. I love you straightforwardly without complexities or pride. I love you because I know no other way than this, so close that your hand on my chest is my hand, so close that when you close your eyes I fall asleep. I imagine my parents on the back porch just enjoying the weather. I know one day I won't have my mom, but until that day, she and I are going to make sure that the kids in this area are taken care of. And when she's gone, my sister and I will keep their memory alive by providing as much as we can to our community. So Hudson Smith did come to me asking if he could be part of it, so I'm going to let you hear from him on his view from this.
Thank you.
So the main reason I want to do this is because I was actually taking part in a food drive recently for the during basketball games called Hoops Against Hunger, and I really wanted to make that something that could last after I graduated high school as well. And so I had the idea to bring Carl's Pantry inside the school into the nurse's office so that kids can go in there and talk to her if they need food, because I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm hungry, I can't think about anything except when my next meal is going to come from. And for a lot of kids that go to our school, that's a constant thought for them. And I think that having a place that they can go to have food and to know where the next meal is going to come from, I think it's going to really benefit how they can focus on their own school and just the overall education within the school as well. So that was why I wanted to be part of this as well.
Thank you.
And one other thing, Chelsea Isaacs with the FRC provided a plaque. Hudson, if you don't care to step over here with Mrs. Jarrett right here, and if you'll maybe hold up the plaque, and you can see a picture there on the board as well. And here's the actual plaque down here in front of the podium here. So this tells Carl's story, and we will place this with the box at the FRC outside in an area, again, as she said, where anyone can pull up if they need a food item, a non-perishable food item, they can get it out of this box. And again, they're going to continue to keep this filled. So we just appreciate you very much for your heart, for your keeping your dad's memory alive through this. I mean, what a real tribute to him and your mom as well, and to you. And thank you, Hudson, for your willingness to partner as well to make sure that it stays stocked. So we're really excited. The box is finished, I believe. You need some paint. Is that right? Okay, yeah. And then, do you want to talk about who made the box for you? Do you want to tell them?
Yes. So Jonathan Renfro from Mitch Cox Construction actually it's a funny story because his wife, come to find out, was my dad's hospice nurse. And so Billy Etter actually kind of put us together and was like, it was just kind of fate, I guess.
Yeah.
It was God working. That's my favorite part, I think.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome, thank
Cole, do you want to, if both of you, if you'll bring that, maybe slide over here and we'll take a couple of pictures. All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's say that, that's fine. We're good.
All right. All right. It's time to move on to the regular agenda. The first item, discussion of partnership between Elizabethton City Schools and Northeast State Community College to establish a middle college program for students at Elizabethton High School. So, don't have to have a motion.
Yep.
just-
Yeah, so I'll ask Dr. Minton to come up as well as anyone else staff-wise there that you want. He's going to share this with you. Again, the reason this is a discussion item is once we get the MOU from Northeast State, that will be later on toward the summer. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So, but we wanted to share with you exactly what this looks like as well as something else that you have there. So I'll let them share with you, but we're real excited about this opportunity for students. And I can tell you that there's several students that are extremely excited about it as well as they've started the registration process. So.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that I gave you before the meeting, you have a color copy. This is a draft copy. We're working with Appalachian Printing to produce multiple copies of this. Conversation we've had over the last really year and a half as we've continued to add more offerings and opportunities, not just things that are our own ideas, but funding that has been generated from at the state level, at the local level, new opportunities through CTE, work-based learning, dual enrollment. It's a real challenge for all of us to continue to keep up with all that we do and be able to thoroughly explain it and put it in front of someone to be able to explain to a parent or even a student. Like right now is registration season, and one of the things we wanted to work on was having a centralized location for all this information. And so we brainstormed a little bit over the last year or so as a team and came up with the topic or the thought of Cyclone U. And you can see on the cover page, the Y, O, and the U are black together, basically indicating that what's at the bottom is it's a journey to a student's future, or your future as we're talking to a student or to a family. But it also is a little bit of a play on words as well, Cyclone University in some ways, because there's so many opportunities for students to earn post-secondary credit now, more than ever. And so all these things together make it, again, a challenge at times to be able to explain and both show parents and students and even prospective students who come to our school. Now that we've entered the era and time of school choice, we feel like it's important to be able to have marketing material so that when students come to our school, we can show them things and families as they move into the area. So if you open up the page, I'll just briefly cover it, and we'll talk about middle college because it's in here. As you flip through it, there's some really good graphic information that will tell you a little bit about, and anyone coming to our school, about the registration process and about graduation requirements. The second opening of pages, you can see our new school board liaison is pictured in the middle with our academic course offerings, and it was really a surprise, not a surprise, but it really kind of opened our eyes as we put this together, how much we really offer for the size of our school. I mean, I've always said it. Since I've been in this position, I believe it, that for the size of our school, we offer more bang for the buck than anybody. We really do. And so this kind of lays out all of our course offerings, and there's a small key down in the bottom left-hand side. All of these QR codes are active so that if you scan the QR codes, they'll take you to a link of a location online where you can view things or save them. There's also some information on the next page about early post-secondary opportunities for college and career readiness, ways that students, we'll talk about one of those here in just a second. I'll let our counselors talk about that. The next page is middle college, and of course, we're going to talk about that and hopefully have an opportunity to enter an agreement with Northeast State to offer that. As Mr. Van Huss said, it's very popular so far in discussion with students during registration season.
And then to wrap it up on the back, there's some details about college and career readiness for students, how they access information about registering for the ACT, Industry 4.0, and then financial aid, just a snapshot about what our last year has looked like, and just so how students can access funding and how they can access money for college and life after high school. It wraps up with student life, clubs, fine arts, and athletics. So this started with a lot of notes and a lot of pages, and the goal was to try to condense it down with some graphics and up-to-date information as much as possible, and I really appreciate everybody's work. The two ladies standing behind me put a ton of work into it, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about middle college and to be able to explain that. But we wanted to get a draft copy in front of you just to let you know that this will be released soon and be available to people online and also in print as soon as we get those available to us in the main office and also in the Student Center. So we're real proud of it. So I'll let them talk a little bit about the middle college and what Northeast State has proposed to us as far as our agreement, and let them give you the details. Thank you.
All right. I believe all of you have a copy of the dual enrollment opportunities from Northeast State. There's a ton of information in it, but what we're talking about specifically to add is the middle college program. Carter County schools have been doing it for 3 years. I think they're in their third year now. And so they are seeing a lot of success with students who are enrolling as juniors and completing their associate's degree prior to graduating high school. And it's an Associates of Applied Science degree with a general TBR transfer. So that implies that they will be going on to receive a bachelor's degree after they complete that associate's degree. We have already identified about 15 students who are interested in enrolling in the program. And it fits very nicely into a regular schedule anyways. A lot of these students are dual enrollment students anyways that would be taking a lot of these classes. They are just on an accelerated path. So they are taught sort of a hybrid between in the high school, online, and some of them later on will be offered at Northeast State. If they choose to do that, they have options to hold some of the classes online or at Northeast in Elizabethton, so using the campus in Elizabethton. So that will be determined later once we get to that second year for this first cohort. So they will be completing Composition 1 and 2, Computer Apps, Public Speaking, American Government, Early and Modern U.S. History, Introduction to Psychology, College and Lifelong Learning, Intro to Theater, Early or Modern Humanities, Biology 1 and 2, Economics and Society, Introduction to Sociology, Introduction to Service Learning, British Literature, Introductory to Statistics, Intro to Music, and Science in the Modern World. So those are all of the classes. That's 60 credit hours, so 60 credit hours to complete that degree. Any questions?
And all that for the requirements for a regular high school grad, all that fits together. They get their their mass, all their
yeah. So it really depends on their major also. So we're having to have some of those preliminary conversations. Some of these courses are different at schools like UT in Knoxville. Some of the more stringent colleges like BYU, we have a couple of students planning to go there. This isn't going to help them at all. So we're trying to have those preliminary conversations about where do you see yourself attending college, and we're working with them because there are some substitutions that we can put in there. But for the general student that's going to be getting a bachelor's degree, this is what they need. They'll graduate high school as a junior in college.
You all want to know what a schedule would be like?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So the student's junior year, their one period would be Composition 1 and 2. Another period would be Public Speaking and Computer Apps paired together. Another period would be U.S. History 1 and 2 paired together. And then another period would be the Intro to Psychology. And then the College and Lifelong Learning will be what personal finance would be for the graduation requirement. The only high school class we have to fit in junior year that they have to have would be the Algebra 2. That's the only math requirement that Northeast State didn't have. So they would do 1, 2, 3, 4 of the class periods with dual enrollment classes, and then 5 class periods we would have to fill with the Algebra 2 and then the electives. So if they're in band, no problem. If you're in drama, no problem. We still have those many classes to go. And then their senior year, they will have 3 class periods of dual enrollment classes, and then they would have 6 class periods to fill with electives to do what they needed to do.
And we wanted to do this for a long time. It was trying to find a way to fit it within the school day, because there are so many students that we have, as you know, that participate in so many other activities, whether it's sports, band, these different clubs or whatever. So we wanted a program that would fit within the school day, you know, and that's a challenge. We want to, you know, attract students that are in the band. So we had to work around that schedule so that it would be in a spot that wouldn't conflict with that. Now, what I would say is this program won't be for everyone, okay? It's not intended to be. But to me, the advantage, there'll be a little financial impact. You know, there's a cost to this that the student and their family will have to incur. But if you have a student, for instance, that knows they want to, you know, whatever field, they know that they want to go to ETSU in business, let's say, okay? They jump into this, they get those first 2 years taken care of. When they go out, they're maybe 2 years away. So there's 2 extra years of earning power that they have that they wouldn't have beforehand. So for the right kid in the right situation, this is a great opportunity. Just like Ms. Ellis said, it's not for everyone. But we were hoping maybe 5-ish, you know, the first year, and to have 15 already that are interested, it just tells us that we're on the right track, in my opinion. So,
Are there any scholarships available to kids that can't afford?
Yes, well, the state, so if a student right now has access to 6 dual enrollment courses through that the dual enrollment grant will pay for. So if you take 18 hours of dual enrollment credit, you don't pay anything out of pocket, unless that's changed. That hasn't changed, has it?
Well, there's also a middle college scholarship that
Yeah, that's what I was
students
gonna-
will be filling out. That's going to pay $2,000. So the only out-of-pocket expenses to families would be somewhere around $500 per semester. The middle college scholarship will cover all that. If students do decide to do this, they are foregoing their Tennessee Promise, so they wouldn't be able to use that. They'll go straight into their 4-year university and they'll start using their FAFSA, or their HOPE scholarship.
It's really a nice balance, because if you want to take dual enrollment courses and not overload yourself, you can do that, no cost, low risk, in the building, no online courses. If you want to pursue something in addition, like middle college, like Ms. Hartley said, that scholarship comes into play. There's a little bit of out-of-pocket cost, but long-term, even earning power for a student to be able to get ahead. Not all students want to do that, but if in fact they want to, it could push them into, you know, as early as a couple years or even more, and getting out of school and pursuing maybe an advanced degree, if they're pursuing a career that requires that, or, you know, get into the workforce and start making money earlier in life, if that's what they want to do. So, yeah.
Wow.
Any other questions?
just another pathway, another pathway.
Yeah, and to wrap all that up, you know, that's what this was designed for, because we continue to add those, and we're happy to do that. We want to do that and have opportunities for students to be able to take different pathways to whatever their future looks like. But to have it organized in a living document that we can continue to edit every year, it's a real game changer. So proud of these ladies behind me and people in the Student Center. Everybody contributed to it. Anybody that's on that back sheet sat in a room together, and we all contributed to it. Just try to make sure that we're sharing the right information, and then also promoting our school the way it should be.
So it's roughly $2,500
Yeah.
would be the total cost of this,
Yeah.
would be the
That's right.
investment.
And they graduate as
Associate degree?
At the same time.
sophomores in college?
They'll actually get their associate's degree a couple of weeks before they get their
Yeah, so the Northeast
Wow.
State graduation will be before their high school graduation. And if we have students whose parents are faculty members, they can actually apply for that 25% state discount.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's the first page that's in the handbook that you have. It's has the cost. It's about $475 in tuition and fees for each semester for their junior year, and about $545 in tuition and fees for each semester of their senior year. So roughly $2,000 total out of pocket expense.
To get associate.
Does that include books as well, or is that?
It depends on, like the different classes have different formats of books. So generally they will have books may be an additional out-of-pocket expense, but I think it also depends on the class too.
Right.
That's impressive.
Any other questions?
That's good stuff.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for
Good.
your work
Yeah.
on it.
Thank you. All right. That is exciting for our students. The next item, approve the nomination of Helen Hackett, a junior at Elizabethton High School, to be submitted to the Office of the Governor for the position of student representative on the State Board of Education for the 2025-2026 school year. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
A second. Any questions? We've already heard her name, seen her picture.
She's
so
a
I
Harold
know-
McCormick kid.
Okay, all right.
She's a hurricane. Huh?
A hurricane.
So yes, basically in your packet, there's a resolution that will ask, if this is approved, all of you just sign at the end, and then we'll forward this on to or to the governor's office to officially nominate her for that role, since, she was selected by her peers for this role next year. She'll have big shoes to fill for Hudson down there.
Yeah.
But since she's been selected, we thought it was appropriate to nominate her for that as well.
The high school hasn't let us down yet.
Nope.
On those. We've had really good people, so, all right. No questions? The item's to approve the nomination of Helen Hackett, a junior at Elizabethton High School, to be submitted to the Office of the Governor for the position of student representative on the State Board of Education for the 2025-2026 school year. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Next item, approved contract between Elizabethton City Schools and Hapara for the 2025-2026 school year. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
A motion and a second.
Second.
Second, thank you, Phil.
So Hapara is a program that we have that we started using toward the tail end of the pandemic. And then basically it's software that is on all of our district devices, and it has several different purposes. One is it can look for anything that may be questionable or concerning activity on the device by the student. That can be monitored. That sends alerts and things to staff members. It can also be used by teachers in the classroom. They can log on and see what every student's doing on their device. So there's even educational use there as well, different things that they could be doing in the classroom, of which that would be of benefit. So we did a 3-year contract on this before, and we used some of our ESSER dollars for that. So this is a 1-year quote to continue using this, and again, it's been extremely helpful in several different situations for our students. So I'd appreciate your consideration and approval of this item.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, the item's to approve a contract between Elizabethton City Schools and Hapara for the 2025-2026 school year. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Next item, approve the suspension of Board Policy 1.400, school board meetings for the month of February 2025. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second. Second. Thank you. Dr. All
So, as you know, we had inclement weather last month at our meeting, and we had to postpone that meeting. In talking with Ms. Owen, our board attorney, we asked her some information about, is it possible for the board to cancel a meeting? And she said that at this point, based on our policy, 1.400, it doesn't necessarily give you that option, but you do have in board policy 1.600 the ability to suspend a policy. And so that's essentially what this item is to suspend that policy. Then if I can jump ahead, the next item, we're going to look at 1.400 and add some language that in the future, if that's needed, it will give the board the ability to postpone or cancel a meeting. Again, right now, by board policy, it says you will have a meeting every month. So that's the necessity for this action, is for you to suspend that policy for the month of February to alleviate you from having a meeting that month.
Okay. All right, so we'll hear more about that in just a minute, I'm sure. Any questions? The item's to approve suspension of board policy 1.400, school board meetings for the month of February 2025. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And any opposed? And there are none. And again, the next item is to approve first reading of Board Policy 1.400, school board meetings. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look there on, in your packet on lines 9 through 12, so we're proposing to add this language. A meeting may be canceled for unusual circumstances, such as but not limited to weather conditions, natural disasters, or safety emergencies. Local news media shall be notified and requested to publicize any such cancellation. So that's the language that we would add that in the future would allow us to cancel a meeting if needed.
Any comments or questions? All right. The items to approve first reading of Board Policy 1.400, school board meetings. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. We will now move down to H. Approve Elizabethton City Schools resolution to approve Section 4 of the Education Freedom Act of 2025. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Second. All right.
You can just tell by the motion in that second, you just kind of feel dirty by making that motion. And I understand that. Believe me, I understand that. But just briefly to make sure that you're aware of what this resolution says. This resolution is approving, again, Section 4 of the voucher bill. And if you look at the legislation, Section 4 is the portion that it talks about this one-time $2,000 bonus for the state's definition of a teacher. So in order to receive those funds from the state, the board is required to do this resolution. You are not, this resolution does not say you're supporting that act, okay? It does not say that, so I want you to know that and be assured that's not what it says. And in my mind, we've made our stance pretty clear on vouchers and what we think about those, and we think it's going to be a detriment to public education. The General Assembly have taken their action, and so now this is in law. But in spite of that, I wouldn't want to see us turn down an opportunity for a bonus for our teachers. They deserve a lot more than that. They deserve additional funds, certainly for a recurring raise. But this action will allow us to collect those funds and get them to the teachers.
I'll just have one comment. We all know we're not a fan of the voucher program, but I'm thankful that our teachers are getting a well-deserved bonus. The only thing that I don't agree with, I think all of our employees deserve a bonus. I don't think, our teachers are wonderful, and they deserve that, but we have a lot of support staff people, our cooks, our janitors, the folks here at central office that are well-deserved employees also. So that's the only catch to it. I think all employees should get a bonus.
And I will tell you that Ms. Wilson and I had a conversation, well, we've had multiple conversations about it, but what we would propose is let us go throughout the budget process here and close out the year and see where we are. Maybe there's an opportunity that we can do that. But I can tell you that, and we'll talk more about this in our other budget workshops, but we're working very, very hard to find a way to give a raise to all of our staff starting next year. And so I will be honest with you, that's our number one focus. How are we able to do that? So
Build morale.
yeah,
I mean.
and that to me is number one. Then if there is some dollars in fund balance that we can designate after we've closed out the year, we can go back and do that with others. And just to make sure that you understand, you are right, everyone's not getting it. But by this definition, I want you to make sure administrators won't get this. No principal will get this. No supervisor, me, no one gets this because we don't meet that definition of the state. So, we're in that same boat with others that won't be receiving that either. So I wanted to make sure you know that. But as we've talked before, the budget process has been very difficult. We're very thankful for the state giving us some additional money for raises, and it's certainly from the teacher aspect trying to get to that $50,000 minimum. We think we have a path forward, hopefully within this budget cycle, to get us toward that goal. But each year, what they provide for that and what we need, there's a gap. And so you can imagine over 5 years, if there's a gap every year, that gap gets bigger and bigger. So all the extra funding that they've talked about being in the TISA formula, that's gone. And we have this year and another year that we're required to do that. And you as a board and us as a school system, we have traditionally, when we give a raise, we give it to everyone, something to everyone. And we're continuing to try to do that. But it's very, very difficult. And just like all these students that we saw here today, you know, there's someone, as you saw, we have some incredible people working with our students. And, you know, we have to be able to compensate them to keep them, or things will go south in a hurry. So that's my soapbox on that item. So we hope to see what we can do once the year closes out about possibly coming back and doing something for some others as well.
I just hope the state legislators through their budget process consider the teachers and everyone for a raise and not come back and say, oh, we gave them a bonus, so therefore we're not going to look at possibly giving them a raise. And I just hope that they don't ignore that fact and continue to give them some raises. Because like Mr. Van Hoos said, we tie a lot of that to the raises that our other employees that aren't getting the bonus, some kind of a raise or get something moving forward. So we can always just be hopeful.
It has been a lesson in politics.
It sure has.
And just how certain things do. And I thought it was interesting listening to the new director for Johnson City Schools, who came from a state that had vouchers, talk about the effect that it's had. So it's interesting to pay attention. We all need to pay attention. But again, I was glad this was not attached. It was a hard pill to swallow when we first saw that.
It'll be hard
that
to
was
put
there.
your name on there, I'm sure.
It will, but my wife will make sure of it. All right, so the item is to approve Elizabethton City Schools resolution to approve Section 4 of the Education Freedom Act of 2025. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Last item, approve contract with Elizabethton City Schools and UDT for the purchase of managed internet access and telecommunication services as part of the Anderson County School Consortium. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is I'll try to explain a little bit about this, but we've used one particular company for several years. I mean, maybe since I don't know, Mr. Lancaster, maybe since the inception of, for at least 20, we've used a certain company that through a state contract for internet services, internet and telecommunications both. So the state recently went through another process. There's this Anderson County Consortium. There's Metro Nashville also went through the same process, and a new vendor was selected. And we as school systems could tag on to these two systems, or Anderson County or Nashville Metro. I will tell you that the company that we currently use has challenged actually both of these contracts as to their validity. That happened a few years ago. I don't know if you remember, it was probably maybe 15 years ago. I think another company received the award. Someone protested, so this seems to be kind of a standard practice when this is awarded. The information that Mr. Lancaster's received, as well as myself, there are, I would say, the overwhelming majority of districts in Northeast Tennessee are doing exactly what you're considering today. The good news about the new service, we get better service, some speed, bandwidth, things like that are expanded. Some features that we don't currently have, we will have in this, and it's cheaper. Okay, so it could save us anywhere from, $1,500 to $1,600, somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. So this process, if you approve this, it won't happen overnight. It could take up to a year to transition over. So what would happen is we would stay on the current provider that we have. UDT, the company we're considering, would start working and building the new system, and then when it's ready, we would switch over. So, we get funds back from the federal government, E-rate funds. You may have heard that term before. So what we have submitted or will submit will cover us for the maximum. The higher amount that would cover our current provider. But once we switch, then that's fine. the amount that they give us will be less because we're paying less. But it's really a no-brainer when you look at the services that we'll be getting, the additional services, and the fact that it's cheaper. So,
Is it to be renewed like annually, or
yeah,
is it set amount of time?
Mr. Lancaster, this one is it 5 years?
5 year, first year's initial, and then it's a year after.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Anything else? Okay, the items to approve contract with Elizabethton City Schools and UDT for the purchase of managed internet access and telecommunication services as part of the Anderson County School Consortium. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And there were none. All right, the other reminder, we are doing a quick budget workshop immediately following this. And if I can get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you all for being here. All right, we'll wait 2 or 3 minutes and we'll start right into the budget workshop.